16 opposition parties met at Nitish Kumar's residence to forge a unity ahead of 2024 polls. This meeting just ended a short while back. There was a press briefing by all the leaders like Sharad Pawar, Mamata Banerjee, Uddhav Thackeray, Lalu Yadav. All these leaders were present. The details are still coming in. Details are scarce. But what we know for sure is that there is going to be a next meeting, which is going to be held in Shimla somewhere around 10th or 12th of July. That is point number one. Second, what we know is that all the parties have decided to fight the elections together. Third, that all the parties have decided to reach a common ground despite the regional differences. Now, some channels have been reporting that there were some exchanges between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress. We do not know whether they were sharp exchanges or not, but yes, Aam Aadmi Party has been insistent and they were demanding that Congress should come out clean as to whether they will support Aam Aadmi Party on the ordinance issue, to which Mallikarjun Kharge did speak to a TV channel, and he gave a soundbite saying that this is an issue which has to be tackled in Parliament, and this day is not the occasion for that particular issue. So let's go straight into the discussion. I'm joined by a very special panel. We have senior journalist with us, Javed Ansari. So thank you so much for joining. We have Brijesh Kalapa, who's the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Thank you so much, Brijesh. Gautam Sarkar, who's a senior journalist from Bihar, and he's an ex-DOI person. Thank you so much. And we have TK Rajlakshmi from the front line. Thank you so much, Rajlakshmi, for joining. And let me begin the debate with Javed Ansari. Javed, I really want to know as to what are the broad pointers which have come out of the meeting, if you have the details with you, because the details are still coming in. Yes.
Well, the broadest pointer to my mind is that all these opposition parties, despite their well-known differences, have decided to contest the next Lok Sabha elections, that is the 2024 Lok Sabha elections, together, unitedly. Now, does this mean that everything is hunky-dory? It certainly is not. It's still undercooked. A lot of spade work behind the scenes will need to be done. And I've seen this from past experience. Whenever such alliances have come together, they go down to the wire. There's a lot of positioning, lots of jostling. The main problem will be seat adjustments. And therefore, this is the first meeting, but certainly not the last. It will require these leaders to come together to meet individually and collectively on many more occasions before this whole thing comes together. But the fact is that they have, in principle, notwithstanding their differences, decided to contest the next Lok Sabha elections together. Yes, there are differences. There are differences between the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress, between the Kashmir-based parties, PDP and NC, and the Aam Aadmi Party. And I do believe that at the meeting, Mr. Kejriwal pressed the Congress to pledge its support, like all the other opposition parties have done. The Congress parried it, saying that this is not the forum. Two, this will have to be decided once the Parliament session, in the forthcoming session of Parliament. And they didn't say no, but they didn't say yes either. It is certainly not the kind of, it's not the kind of fight that is being projected on some so-called mainline channels. There are differences of opinion. And in politics, people play hardball. It goes down to the wire. Some decisions are taken.
Some TV channels have already started playing the headline that the meeting has ended in a stalemate, and that's the reason there is a need for another meeting. Would that be correct to headline it like that?
So are you surprised that some TV channels are blowing up that headline? I'd have a heart attack if they said that everything was fine. I've been a part of this profession for close to 40 years. Both in print and television, and in my last years in television were an eye-opener. So I know how these things work. So I know where they're coming from and why they are saying what they are saying. There are differences of opinion. It's out there in the open. But will that be a stumbling block? Will that be a spoiler? I'm not so sure. And there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of time left for that vote to happen in Parliament, and there's much more time left for the Lok Sabha elections to happen. Assuming, for argument's sake, that the Congress party decides not to support the Aam Aadmi Party, or decides to go along with the rest of the opposition and vote against that ordinance. It will only be symbolic because the BJP still has the numbers. They've got the BJD, they've got the BRS, they've got all the other so-called non-aligned, but in reality friendly parties who will come to the rescue and who will bail them out. In the Lok Sabha, they have a huge majority, so that's not even worth talking about. Even in the Rajya Sabha, this ordinance will sail through. If you personally ask me, I think the Congress should set aside its difference and support the Aam Aadmi Party on this. But there are no free lunches. You can't expect support at the same time be taking pot shots. So a lot of work will have to be done. I guess most of it behind closed doors, and something will probably emerge. I will not be too surprised if the Congress, once the session starts, decides to go along with the rest of the opposition.
Okay, so let me go to Brijesh now. Brijesh, there have been stories since yesterday. If you look at the news unfolding in the last 24 hours, and of course there are reasons why the mainstream channels are doling out stories like that. There were reports that Aam Aadmi Party's Arvind Kejriwal might walk out of the meeting if the Congress doesn't pledge a support. That was point number one. Then we saw on one of the TV channels, Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson saying that Congress and BJP have a tacit understanding on the ordinance issue. Now, why were these statements given out in public? Because I myself heard that soundbite of the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson in Bihar. And she did mention this, that there is a tacit understanding between BJP and Congress on the ordinance issue. Now, if Aam Aadmi Party knows that it's going for an opposition unity meeting, and the meeting is happening on one hand, and on the other hand, parallelly, there are spokespersons from Aam Aadmi Party giving statements like these. So is it not natural that people would say that Aam Aadmi Party is trying to play the spoil sport? I really want to know your reaction on this. Yes.
See, Niluji, I am honestly a votary of opposition unity. So therefore, if, of course, I do belong to the Aam Aadmi Party. I've been in the Indian National Congress for 25 years. Therefore, I do believe that it's very important that the opposition parties must come together. And this is the need of the hour. And if, you know, the Aam Aadmi Party has some niggling issues which require to be corrected one way or another, of course, we will make a noise about it. But that doesn't mean that we are not for a larger unity of political parties to take on the might of the BJP government and the NDA. I think it's very important today to note that the political strength of the political parties who have come together, let's look at them electorally. If each one of the political parties was to be weighed in terms of their electoral strength, I think it's a sizable strength. And you will appreciate that it's beyond, I think, 45% of the vote that they've all come to represent. And today, if nearly 45% of the vote has come together, then it means that it's sending a shiver down the spine of the BJP. And naturally, the mainstream media, which is called the Godi media and so on and so forth, has to show its true colors and has to provoke spokespersons to speak a particular way. And I think that is also happening on one end. And also the fact that the central government is running a continuous, set of calumny to, in fact, see to it that the opposition unity is in some way dented, tarnished, and so on and so forth. But despite all this, the very fact that nearly 45% of the vote share, which is far higher than the BJP's vote share of 37%. I think coming together itself is an indication that the BJP ought to be quaking in its seat, and it can't take it lying down. So therefore, naturally, you'll find, all kinds of stories which are imaginative on the one end and which are absolutely scurrilous on the other. Therefore, you'll find several of these, and spokesperson like me are always, very culpable, and they also fall for ploys which the mainstream media at some point in time may adopt.
Brijesh, when there was a press meeting after the opposition meeting ended, Kejriwal was not seen amongst all the leaders who were there as part of the press briefing, and press, the mainstream channels started making too much out of it that, he tried to boycott the press briefing also. Was there a particular reason? I need to get a clarification on that as well, so that people do come to know as to what was the reason why Kejriwal was not part of that press briefing.
No, there were several other leaders who participated who were also not part of the press briefing. I don't know about Mr. Kejriwal, and
There was a statement issued by Aam Aadmi Party, which was read out, and all the TV channels have been showing it, that the silence of Congress on the ordinance issue raises a lot of suspicion. Now, does this statement mean that Kejriwal is not ready to be part of the opposition meeting, or are we to expect that probably Nitish Kumar will try and placate Kejriwal and somehow things will move along, all the differences will be thrashed out? How does one understand this at this point of time?
See, like I said, are we to assume that there are no differences between Nitish Kumar and the Indian National Congress, or between the RJD and the Indian National Congress, merely because nobody is speaking about it? Of course, the ordinance issue is one of the foremost issues for the Aam Aadmi Party. There is no gainsaying in that. But the fact is that every single political party has one or the other issues which are niggling issues as far as the Indian National Congress is concerned. Can you take the TMC, for instance? Of course, they also have some niggling issues so far as the Congress party is concerned. Therefore, each one of these political parties, which represent, like I said, 45% to 50% of the vote share, they all have certain issues. But that is not taking away that, if this issue is not going to be resolved, then it doesn't mean that opposition unity is not going to be stepped forward with. So therefore, of course, there are niggling issues, and this is one of our foremost issues. We are certainly troubled by the fact that there is an ordinance, a five-member court. The constitutional bench judgment has been overturned, turned by an ordinance, and it pains us, it hurts us. This is definitely one of the very, very important issues as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. But are we going to jettison all this? This opposition unity only because of this issue? I have not read a statement from the Aam Aadmi Party saying this. So therefore, let's not read too much into the fact that, of course, we are pained by the fact that the ordinance has come and it seeks to overturn what the 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court has said. Yes, but as far as opposition unity is concerned, that's yet another story.
Right.
The last word on that, as Javed Bhai rightly said, has not been spoken so far.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me come to Gautam now. Gautam, you are in Patna, and what are the reports which you are hearing? One would read today's meeting as a successful meeting, and that would be the big takeaway, or would, as what some channels are saying, it was a stalemate, and that's probably just a commencement process. It was just for the optical significance. How would you read in Patna? What are the reports you're hearing from your sources? What you really come to know about the meeting? Yes. Unmute yourself, Gautam.
Hello. Actually, you are hearing me? Hello.
Yes.
Yes. I'm able to hear you.
Actually, the entire episode ended with a big dramas among the big politicians or leaders. You must observe, Kejriwal was not present during the press conference. Even I think Mamta was also not there. And the most...
No, Mamta was there. She spoke for a while. That after that she left.
Yeah.
Yes, Gautam. Gautam's signal, I think, is a little problematic. Okay, so let me go to Rajalakshmi, and then the meanwhile, if the signal is restored, then we'll go back to Gautam. Rajalakshmi, how would you read?
Okay.
He's back. Yes.
The posters which they...
I lost your audio in between, so could you just repeat what you've been saying? I lost your audio. Yes.
Actually, what happens, on yesterday, there are some hoardings and posters appeared on the state capitals, which welcome the opposition's leaders and notify the meetings. But instantly, the only there was not a single photo of Lalu Yadav or his son, Deputy Chief Minister Tejaswi, or even Jharkhand CM Hemant Kumar. So there's a type of objection started. If people say, this is not the particular, this meeting was not convened by Nitish Kumar only himself. It is a opposition meeting. So how he ignores the leaders? So there are so many differences, but the basic thing is how they will transform the voters in their proposed unity. That will be the point. Okay, there are during the last Lok Sabha election, as we know all, they have approached the same process. But this time it appears that they have started to fold it in a big screen. So I think this probably, people, if you talk about what is the mood of the local people, no, people are not very encouraged. This entire event that doesn't make anyone so much interested or very encouraging that there is going to be a change. Okay, what people who allege Narendra Modi, they have the doubt whether this type of opposition unity will replace Narendra Modi or not. There are so many things is now, but we will see it. Let us come on what will happen on the next proposed meeting at Simla, which is perhaps on July 10 or 12. So that result will be more clear. The picture will be more clear. Okay, and it is very now to say something in this particular moment, it is not very wise. So I think we will have to wait to see what will be the outcome of the next meeting, and that will decide the fate of their opposition unit.
Okay. If you look at the statements, Rajlakshmi, of the various leaders, Mamata Banerjee made a very interesting comment saying that we are the opposition, but don't treat us like opposition. We are equally a part of the country. We are equally patriotic. Then Uddhav Thackeray makes a statement saying that we will stand against the tyrants. Now, that is a very strong statement coming from Uddhav Thackeray. Now, in various capacities, people have said different things. For example, Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi said that we'll stand together, come what may, and we'll try and be as flexible as we can. So this word flexible also, reflects a lot of things about the adjustment and accommodation of the various opposition parties which are ready. Now, if you talk about the significance of today's meeting for you, what would be the biggest takeaway?
See, I think this meeting was pretty much significant for all of them, for around 18 or so, parties to come together. And I think, I think essentially they have been pushed, in a sense, to come together, because the circumstances that have been created mainly by the BJP-led NDA, I mean, in terms of ED raids, in terms of arrests, in terms of vendetta politics that we've seen over the last few years, and I would disagree with Gautamji because I don't think things are the same, as they were, in 2019. I mean, things have really escalated since 2019, and the escalation has not just stopped at targeting CSOs, civil society organizations. It has gone far beyond that. I mean, you are talking about elected ministers. You're talking about people who are still in jail. We have two, in fact, ministers of the Kejriwal government in jail at the moment, even as we speak. I mean, we have had, similar kind of vendetta politics, if I may say so, against Tamil Nadu, minister, and it's been going on. It's not just one-off thing. And then, of course, Rahul Gandhi's own, disqualification from parliament. So it's not just a series of, I mean, let's say, disparate, events, but there's a certain link, a certain connection that has brought all the opposition parties together, because the circumstances, let us say, have sort of compelled them to come together. and yes, when they use words like patriotism, that we are sort of patriotic, and it's a patriotic act, of coming together. I think they mean to say that we would like to save, the constitution, which is under attack today, and the constitution, because I think the ordinance itself, is it's the most recent example of of the BJP completely sort of roughshodding over all semblance of reasoness, reason as such, and therefore, of course, I think that all opposition parties have expressed their views on the ordinance. The Congress too has had expressed its view in the ordinance. The Delhi Congress has a different viewpoint. That's fine. That's quite understandable, because I think vis-a-vis the AAP, it has a certain adversarial role in the state, so that's perfectly understandable. So I think the flexibility that Rahul Gandhi also is sort of saying is sort of mentioning is that while we may have, I think, competing interests in states, and yes, it's about to happen in several states. I think there are direct fights between the Congress and the BJP. And the Congress on the regional parties on the one side and the BJP on the other side, and where the Congress is let's say like a minor player, right? So I think given these realities, the flexibility makes sense in that context. But then that bridge will be crossed, when they come to it. You see, so this whole thing about having pre-poll alliances actually doesn't make much sense. But I think there will be a broad kind of an understanding that we are not going to cut into your areas where you are in a position of strength, but post-poll, we'll come together, because the main objective, yes, is to save the constitution, is to save democracy, is to save institutions from being misused, right? So, as I said, the context is absolutely clear. And as of now, I think it's absolutely immaterial whose photo is on which poster or not, because of course, the media would try to reduce it to that. Who is your candidate? Okay, ours is Narendra Modi. Who is your candidate? Okay, but you fall into that trap, which I think is a very good thing that the opposition parties are not doing. Because it makes perfect sense. Whichever party has sort of wins, the largest number of seats post 2024. It's quite obvious that the leader who would lead that coalition will be from that particular party, right? So, so it's that obvious as that, So, but then of course, so I think one has to be sort of careful of all these divisive, these attempts to sort of divide the opposition coming through the media, sort of dismissing it as a show of optics. I think the BJP is quite rattled by it. And
BJP looks indeed
its own house, it's hardly not its own coalition partners. Where are they? They aren't really all that there to see, really.
No, this point which you said about BJP being rattled, and I think there are enough statements over the day which really show that BJP is indeed rattled. Look at what Ravi Shankar Prasad said, and I might just go to Javed on this. Ravi Shankar Prasad said that the days of an ad hoc prime minister are over, and you've forgotten the days of what happened during Indra Kumar Gujral's days. That is what he said. Amit Shah said that this is a photo op moment. Smriti Irani saying that I'm glad that Congress itself has proved that all of these parties, under compulsion, have to come together to defeat Modi. But what I want to ask you is that, say, for example, look at the statement of what Mehbooba Mufti said in the press briefing. She said that we will not allow Gandhi's country to turn into Godse's country. Now, why I'm asking you this question is that by and large, there looks like a consensus on these issues that you have to protect the democracy, you have to protect your secularism, you have to defeat the communal forces. There is an in-principle agreement on this. So are we to assume that the common minimum program will entail all these issues? But what happens to issues like, can this opposition front give a credible alternative as far as the joblessness is concerned and other issues which are plaguing the economy? So in what shape are we really going to see the common minimum program? Yes.
Look, one, they haven't started work on the CMP as yet. Probably they will decide about it once they meet in Simla. However, from my experience, it cannot be just one issue. It cannot be secularism versus communalism, Gandhi versus Godse. It will be a bouquet of issues. So there'll be economic issues, joblessness, price rise. There'll be the assault on the constitution, assault on democracy, or how the states are being deprived of their share. There will be an assortment of issues, and this, of course, the ideological divide, differentiator between the BJP, what the BJP-led alliance stands for, and what this alliance stands for will be clear. Because look, one thing is clear: this soft Hindutva business won't sell, for the simple reason that if somebody wants Hindutva, then they'll go for the real deal, not for the wannabe. If you like Coke, I like Coke. I don't like Diet Coke. It's as simple as that. Although I'm a diabetic and I should be preferring Diet Coke, but I don't. I like the real thing. So people will go for the real thing. So a lot of these political parties who were not clear in their mind, there is a certain clarity now that you have to decide what you stand for and what you do not stand for. Earlier, Mr. Kejriwal had taken a position, or was of the view that he will not take any position which will annoy or which will not sit well with the majority community. But now that clarity has dawned. Now he's clear. He says you can't be a bit of this and a bit of that. Similarly, Congress is also, I'm a Janayodhari Hindu and I go to this temple. It's all very well. Go to all the temples you want. Don't just pray 5 times, pray 10 times. But there is a difference between Hinduism and Hindutva. There is a difference between Hindutva and everything else. So it's all good to be a believer, but it's also good to be secular. Gandhiji who can be more religious than Mahatma Gandhi? But was he a votary of Hindutva? He wasn't. So that clarity appears to be have dawned, and whatever little cobwebs there are in the mind, once they meet again in Simla and again, and once it will be clear. You have to present an economic picture, a political picture, an ideological picture, which is absolutely distinct from the BJP. If it's a bit of a muddled, if it's a bit of BJP and a bit of this, then the people will go to for the real deal. Why will they come to the wannabe? Simple.
Absolutely. Yeah. Brijesh, on this particular ordinance issue, of course, it is a big issue for Arvind Kejriwal. Can I ask you this question, that for the Shimla meet, will Arvind Kejriwal be part of that meeting? Because as what TV channels are trying to make it out, that apparently things haven't gone too well between Congress and Aam Aadmi Party. And we're not sure whether Kejriwal will be attending the Simla meet.
See, the channels of India, Neeluji, unfortunately, are continuing the honeymoon with Modi Sarkar. Because we have seen earlier that channels used to have a 6-month honeymoon period with any new incumbent government. But the channels of India of today have a continued honeymoon with Modi Sarkar for over 9 years now. And naturally, I don't think channels have the same kind of integrity, and people don't essentially believe in them anymore. That's the reason that there are alternates like yours which are springing up, and they are by far more credible than the national channels. So the less said about national channels, the better. So this is one part. Now, second part is that as far as Mr. Kejriwal leaving with a half and all that, of course, he may have been disappointed that there has been no open support on the ordinance issue. He may have been certainly angry with that. But that doesn't mean that the Aam Aadmi Party is a one horse pony, or that one trick horse. So therefore, there are several issues which are troubling us. And it's not just the fact that the ordinance, of course, troubles us, but like I think Rajalakshmi ji pointed out, there are 2 of our ministers who are in jail, and we are not allowed to work on a daily basis. And even in Punjab, there are all kinds of problems with the governor. And this is a common feature across the country insofar as opposition states are concerned. So you'll never find a YSR who complains that he has a hostile governor. You'll never find Mr. Patnaik who complains that he has a hostile governor, so long as there is some kind of an understanding with the central government. But it's only people who are on the wrong side of the central government who are today with this meeting, and possibly in future with the meeting in Shimla. But the point is that they all have something or the other extremely serious insofar as Modi Sarkar is concerned, because Modi Sarkar has actually stepped on a number of toes.
So what you're saying is that you are hopeful that all the differences, even if it is the ordinance issue, all those differences will be resolved and you will be part of the united opposition front. There is no two ways about it.
No, the very fact that Mr. Kejriwal, who has otherwise stayed studiously and religiously away from any opposition event, the very fact that he's even coming forward and speaking to various political parties, including visiting them, meeting them, I think it tends to convey that it's not just the ordinance issue. There are a host of other issues which have been troubling, opposition ruled states and opposition governments across the country. And we are also one of those troubled souls by the central government.
Okay. Rajlakshmi, so towards the end, I'm taking a concluding comment from you and Gautam. I'll come to you first, Rajlakshmi, that what is the headline you're going to expect tomorrow in the newspapers?
Something like opposition unity falls flat or something like that. Stage 2 set in Shimla, inconclusive, some kind of a dismissive, disparaging. I'm quite cynical, but obviously, I wouldn't really take that as at face value. As I said, it's a big, it's a big thing that has happened today. I think, irrespective of what the mainstream media sort of thinks about it, and makes it out to be. Of course, it has always reserved all contempt, and derision for the opposition, as we have all seen, and therefore I do not expect anything, anything flattering to come out of that. But as I said, it's momentous, and in fact, just to add on some things that Javed had said, this is about the economic issues. Today we have a Congress, which ushered in the neoliberal reforms in this country, and also spoke about PSU disinvestment. Today, it is standing firmly, on the side of PSU revival and is talking about things that and of a greater role for the state to play in several areas, and about crony capitalism too. So I think there's a big change and in the kind of vocabulary itself that has come about, and I think all parties to an extent, they realize that the BJP has to go. I think the opposition is quite firm about that, and therefore I think all kinds of flexibilities and compromises, I think, will be worked out. I do not see it not happening,
And Gautam, on a lighter note, I'll just refer to what Lalu Yadav said, that all this while it seems that Lord Hanuman was with BJP, but now we need not worry because Lord Hanuman is with us. So are you convinced that the way the commencement process at least has begun today, and if all the forthcoming meetings go along well, the opposition is very much capable of bringing out an alternative agenda which can really counter BJP? Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Actually, what will happen or what will not happen, it will depend in the future. But as far as the concern of Lalu Yadav, Lalu Yadav is a man who always tried to know the nerves of the people. Okay, so he referred the name of Bajrang Bali. Bajrang Bali is a common and very popular deity in Bihar and other Hindi belt areas. So he just passed it to the people. So okay, you see, now Bajrang Bali is with us. So you could certainly give us vote instead of the BJP, because Bajrang Bali has already shown its result at Karnataka. That's the point.
Sure. So at least the commencement process has begun. But yes, this process is going to have many chapters, many meetings, and a lot of headlines probably would be coming out in the days to come. It was wonderful having all of you on the program. Thank you, Brijesh. Thank you, Javed, Gautam, Rajlakshmi. It was wonderful having you on the program. And the people who are watching this discussion, stay tuned to The Federal, subscribe to our channel and send us your feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you.